All right, we're gonna call our project management meeting to order this morning, and we kind of have a tight timeline. So we'd love to invite Summit View Phase 1 up to the table.
Where do you want us?
Wherever you can squeeze in with our team. Do we need to do introductions? We'll do that for everybody. I'm Jenny Knight, City Administrator.
Justin Schinzel, Public Works Director.
Doug Jepson, Planning Water System.
Matt Fox, Bonta Vista Water.
Ryan Barker, Northview Fire.
And?
Up to you. Glade McCombs, Worldwise Realty.
And Lane Munson with the JLM Development Group.
Matt Robertson, City Chair.
And we've got our contracted planner, Brandon, will join us here in a minute. So we didn't necessarily have more of a submission from other than what we had
Right.
comment-wise. Is that correct, or did you send something new that I've missed?
I haven't gotten anything back from the engineer yet.
Okay.
So he is in receipt of these, plat map, and he's making those revisions.
Has he also sent it over to Weaver County so they can start their review?
I don't know if he sent it to them. I will check with him.
Okay, because sometimes they
Take a minute.
take a little bit.
Okay.
A lot of these comments should, I'm guessing, are probably some of the similar ones that Weaver County will have. So,
And my guess is he hasn't sent it over in light of needing to make these revisions.
Sure.
He'll probably do these first and then send it over.
yeah, right. And then I was mentioning the Glade as I walked in, the preliminary improvement drawings, we've got a review pretty much done. I just wanted to summarize a lot of the comments, but there's quite a bit to clean up on there as well.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen those yet, so look forward to getting those back.
It would, well, I don't know if you want to pull those up at all. It'd be helpful to, if we had your engineer here to go over some of it, but I sent
Does it
you-
make sense to schedule a call with us and him and you? Or?
Yeah, probably. There's, Jenny, did you happen to download the one I sent this morning? Or did you see that email? It was just like a half hour ago. I just sent over all my red line comments in case we wanted to pull that up in this meeting.
I mean,
But if
we're
you
going to
don't-
get on a call with them and the engineer.
that's
Let's
fine.
just
Okay.
do
That's
it
fine.
that
Yeah,
way.
I agree.
That's-
I think
that's fine.
Kind of
You know.
and
Keep
Andy
this short.
responds best to that anyway.
keep this short and sweet.
Yeah. One of the big things is that the realignment of Dixon Creek, that was shown, they had it called out as a 30-inch pipe. I know that our line is a 42-inch coming underneath 1100 North. And so I think we're going to need to match that size and go with a 42-inch. But
Perfect sense.
yeah, but we do, they're showing it come down 1100 North and then around or behind that fiveplex there. There may be some elevation issues though with that large of a pipe coming across that stub road because we've got, you've got water line stubbed in there and,
There it is,
and our
yeah.
sewer as well. So they're gonna want to get elevation on those. I think the water line's probably just 4 feet deep.
4 foot, yeah, I imagine.
Yeah. So they're gonna need to look at that.
Okay.
I still, and I'll get with your engineer and talk with them, one of my comments, have a little heartburn with the angle. Our city standards, I know we talked about this a little bit in the past, but I didn't have the improvement drawings until now to really look at how those lines and angles were coming in. That road is a 67-degree angle with the main road. Our standard, of course, is 90, but it does state in our standards that we could go down to 80, and this is only the 67. So I don't know if there's any way. I know we've talked about it ad nauseum a little bit, but it's. I would need him to look at if there's room to put the detention basin on the other side,
Yeah.
or if you run out of room doing that. So if there's going to be an exception to that, I get to our standard, we would just need to, I guess, have a good justification for why we're having an exception or variance to our standard right there.
Well, our biggest concern there, and you can't see it from this drawing, but if you look at the site plan, Jenny, I don't know if you have the overall site plan.
Like the one that came with the MDA, probably.
Yeah, if you look at that, what we tried to do
That
is,
one right there, that overall preliminary second draft,
yep,
maybe?
yep, that's it. So if you look at that, the reason that angle is what it is we're keeping it in line with Wallaway, and it makes for a straight through fair, you know.
Yeah, I understand that.
And we can certainly adjust it.
Yeah. In hindsight, although I don't know if it would have worked as well, and I think Wallaway on the south or the east end is probably set. It probably messed things up too much. Because in hindsight, I'm like, I wish I would have pushed you guys to maybe once you got past the Trop's house to even swing Wallaway to come in more at a 90 on that side. You know what I mean? You
Oh,
come
yeah.
straight, and then you'd have a little curve into there so that we're at a 90. If you did something like that lot 40 or whatever, I know that like the MDA is approved and your number of lots, so I don't want to mess with that too much. If that one did curve in, then I don't know if you'd be able to. It says lot 90, which obviously is whatever. But yeah, it's just get 50.
Yeah, I think there was one revision after this.
Yeah,
that,
I think so.
that
Fix that.
that
Right.
changed that numbers. Yeah.
Because if Wallaway did come in, then you would maybe have, but then you'd maybe have like 90 come off of the main road, and then maybe see if you could sneak another unit in there. But that may not work. So I understand what you're saying, Glade.
So the other option that I'm thinking is, what if we did? And I don't know. I'd have to talk to Andy about this. But what if right here? What if we just kind of more followed? So we could either change it here at the intersection, where you just make a slight angle here and go straight in like that, or we could go back to about here and turn it, and then that would shift the pond over to the right side of the road,
Right.
and that would make for a more of a 90, almost a 90 here at the.
I like that better, but if you can make it work with your lot layout, Justin, what's your? I know I'm more maybe picky about it than Justin is.
I hate curve on curve. So I know you're trying to make it a more of a 90, but I mean right now if we can keep the roads as straight as possible, I mean that keeps Wallen straight as an arrow. That keeps, you know.
Right. So you're saying, Justin, that Wallen being
Wallen
straight,
straight
Yes.
here.
is you'd like that better than both
I
of them
mean,
curving like
yeah,
that?
because if you put curve on curve,
We'll have him. So what if we just do this? Have Andy maybe show, because one of our comments, I haven't sent it over yet, is like the driveway on lot 6.
This one.
Maybe we just show like the site triangles and make sure that there's no conflict with like that driveway blocking any view. Like if you had 2 vehicles parked right there in 6, we just want to make sure with that being on a curve that's not blocking any kind of sight coming off.
Yeah,
of
seeing
that
people
road.
coming off of 1100 North.
Especially if that's going to be tying into a future school.
Yeah.
but what we don't know is that just going to be a one-way.
Yeah, it all
Depending
depends
on
on
what the school does.
Yeah.
If they can make that a one-way in and then they exit out on 89.
My conversation with the school was that was their intent, is that would be a one-way
Then
coming
that kind of changes the
One way, which way?
coming from the school.
So it would.
So you're coming from the west side.
They exit out to 1100 or enter off of 1100 and exit?
No, they would come from the school into Summit View
one way that way, and then out to 1100 or Wallen Way.
So you have a bunch of vehicles.
So that
you'd
would-
have a bunch of vehicles making that left-hand turn.
And then that changes the scope, because like you said, that 30-foot triangle, side triangle on lot 6, then does make more sense to flip the pond. But I was under the impression that because they didn't want people stacking on the highway, they would make this the entrance, and the exit would be the highway.
That would make sense.
But again, that's between the school and UDOT and how they fight that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say right now too, because the school could, whatever, the school falls on financial troubles and decides to sell that whole back part and it develops.
Then
Then
we
it's a whole
have.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Or whatever. Well, do you want me to, I can follow up with Andy on this.
So we don't want, if we make too much of a modification, then we've got to amend the MDA.
Yeah, right. And I think as long as like the general, I would think, right, the general concept's still the same, but that angle changes
Yeah.
the lots. The
If we-
lot number are the same. I don't think that would require any
Yeah, it won't change the lot numbers.
modification to the MDA, right?
No, if they were trying to add something, or I think even relocating the detention pond to the other side, we should bring to their attention. That's moving an element, but we can see it's just an exhibit, so
Yeah,
doesn't
right.
require a whole lot, but that is a process to go through meetings. So if we can get it with minimal impact to it,
Yeah, right.
that's preferred.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So do you want to just finish your comments
I'll
and
give
have a
the
call
comments,
with him,
yeah,
and
sure.
one of us would be happy to
Yep.
get on that call as well.
Mhm.
Yep.
In fact, you probably should. Just
I will definitely be on the call with you.
awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else, Matt, that, having not seen your red lines on the engineering drawings, any other major points of concern that we need to address?
Mentioned the Dixon Creek.
Yep.
Said had Brad in my office do this review, and I'll double check through everything.
Matt,
Yeah.
we stepped that already.
Off 1100,
Off
yeah.
11.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, Matt.
Sorry, that
thought.
match, the better match. The sewer. That a couple of bigger issues to figure out. So he's showing, probably just because of elevation, the sewer coming off of 1100 north. He's just got from, so come down Wallen Way and then go out. But then the sewer for everything south of Wallen Way is going out to Berkeley, is what he's showing. So do
Yeah,
you
going
have-
through Butters.
through Butters, right? So that was. Do we have an easement?
Not yet. I've talked to Butters about it. In fact, they're working up some numbers for me for horizontal improvements. But their intention is to still take the road through, and then we would take the sewer down the Summit View Drive, and then route it
Yeah.
over to Berkeley.
We're just not going to be able to get final approval on this until like an easement's recorded for the
Right.
sewer. And then that again brings up, this is more on the city side, but more reason to push to revisit the Larson Lane sewer.
Yes, I did, yes.
Yes.
And
We'll
get
follow
with
up on
Central-
that.
Get with Central Weaver and see if they'll take over.
I
Just,
talked-
yeah,
Yeah, I talked to them recently.
okay. Just so you guys know, the sewer, so if it goes down to Berkeley, that goes out to Larson Lane. Larson Lane sewer is owned by Ogden City. And there's been an agreement in the past for the number of connections, but there keeps being more connections added to it, which Ogden doesn't love. But Ogden has sewer coming to it, we have sewer coming to it, so we've approached Central Weaver Sewer of having them just take over that line since you have.
Because then right
Multiple
after
agencies.
Larson Lane, it
Yeah.
comes into Central
Yes.
Weaver.
And it sounds like they've been open to that, which would help us out because Ogden likes to give us grief about it. Anyway, and then the other thing was the irrigation easement. There's an irrigation line or an irrigation turnout at the end of the existing Wallen Way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who let's see, what ditch is that? Do we know?
Costly.
That's costly?
That's costly, yeah.
Okay. So do we know who we deal with as far as?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. All right. Well, so we need to, I guess, make sure we get their buy off the ditch users on any modifications to their ditch.
And I have had discussions with Costly Ditch, and so I know the contacts there, and but we have not submitted this. Kind of waiting for your review,
Yeah.
and then once we get that, then I'll submit this to Costly for their approval.
Okay, because some of the issues there that they might have a little bit of angst with is they're showing one or two siphons.
Right.
So it coming up and then coming under and whatever. So,
Yeah.
which is,
It's the
I don't
only
have
way
a
we can
pro-
do it with the
I know,
elevation changes.
I know,
yeah.
and I don't have a problem with it, and it should still work to supply their water there. But the issue we do run into is siphons need to be kind of cleaned out more regularly, and the ditch companies aren't
Justin's
great.
really good at that.
No, I'm not.
I was gonna say the ditch companies aren't good at
Not
it.
on that one.
And, yeah,
Yeah,
Those
don't
siph-
say on that one.
right. But those siphons can kind of silt in if they don't come and clean them out.
So what would your suggestion be on that?
I mean, the only thing I say is work
Just
with them
work with
for
Costly
approval.
with
Just work with Costly, but know that you have in your back pocket, ask them that they need to show you engineer standards that they want you to engineer it to. And if they can't, say, well, these are our engineered standards and through the prescriptive easement law.
Okay.
Helpful.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Those I think were the major, I guess, red flags that might slow you down a little bit. Is the sewer, the easement for the sewer, and then dealing with the costly ditch.
Okay.
With these all being slab on grade, there's not enough elevation to get those southern homes to go out to 1100, huh?
What the
No, he said the depth wasn't enough. I don't know. He said your depth wasn't enough for the drainage. You know, we've got two potential connections. Actually, three potential connections. We've got the connection at 1100 North. We've got the connection on Wallen Way,
Okay.
Yeah.
and then we've got the connection if we have to go through Butters. That's my least preferred, is to go through Butters property.
Yeah.
You know, I was hoping that we would have enough fall going over to Wallen Way, but as Andy looked at that, he didn't think that we would have enough fall to make that connection. So I'll double check with him, but I know that he said that he was concerned that we didn't have enough fall for that. And you guys won't allow any pumps, right?
You can put in home pumps,
Private pumps.
private pumps, but as far as on our main line, no.
Okay.
His drawings have well, I don't have great. I mean, I guess I'll give
Figure
Andy.
it out
I'll
another
give
time.
Andy grief. Tell him to clean these things up.
Please do, because he's working on Ocala right now
Okay.
as well, so.
Yeah. Ryan, do you have one question I had on phase one? If you want to pull up the plat again, is that so? Right now, if we're just looking at phase one, one question we had was that turnaround. So that stub road on the south end. Does that give you enough? Right.
No.
So you want that road going in further?
Yeah, we
for
need to go further.
turnaround purposes?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Probably, I think 75 feet is all we need.
Okay.
Zoom in a little bit.
So are you, so would that be 75 foot from the western curve?
No, from the center of the road.
Center? Okay.
Just put 70, but
Yeah,
75.
it'd be close.
Center of the road.
Right.
Oh, from center of road, not from curb.
No.
Okay. Our guy reviewing the plat just.
So you said 75 feet?
Yep.
From center of road. up to the end of your stub road.
Okay.
And I can
That's-
verify that number.
Okay. And then I've just got a question logistically. If we, Great Basin has finished, or is mostly finished, I guess with the exception of, what changes you're going to have from comments. But we have already submitted phase 2 drawings on this. Actually, phase 2 and 3, we kind of combined those just from an engineering standpoint. And then if we end up doing this as one phase, all at one time, is that an issue with you guys as long as we have all of the drawings approved?
As long as everything's approved,
We would love that.
Construction-wise?
construction-wise,
It'd be a lot
Yeah, as
One
long as you
phase.
have final approval on all the phases, and we've had a pre-construction
it's
meeting.
not a big enough development at all for us to
Right.
handle that.
Okay.
Being all in one phase at construction.
All
Get a
right.
better end product if we can
Yeah.
do it at once anyway.
Yeah.
That's where we're leaning, so.
And what we might do at the very least is we might just go ahead and do all of the horizontal improvements, get all those in, even if we're not ready to,
Curb gutter and asphalt.
curb gutter and asphalt, yeah.
Would make the most sense to at least have the same contractor, the same
Mhm.
finish up the whole
Right.
improvements on it. And then, did you guys get that overview drawings over to Doug
I haven't seen them.
with Pine View?
For this project,
For
Yeah,
secondary
Yeah.
irrigation?
Have you been in contact with our assessment clerk at all?
I have, I've talked to them, and I sent the preliminaries over to them. I don't know that I've sent the updated one,
Yeah, I haven't seen anything, so.
the updated site plan. I'll send an
Who do those
updated.
need to be sent to, directly to you, or?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's your email?
I'll grab you a card. The
Okay.
Okay.
easiest way.
Doug, did we stub in secondary?
No.
Oh.
Same with Buena Vista. I'll need updated plans too. All I have is just an overview of it.
Right.
All
Okay.
the utility plans.
So make sure, their availability letter that you guys got.
Yeah, I've sent in
states-
availability,
Right.
but yeah.
And that letter
There'll be
outlines
two
the review
letters,
process.
so.
Okay.
Did you get a will serve letter from us at all?
Mhm.
So you got, so there is water already on that piece. I thought
Mhm.
there was, but I hadn't.
Well, the shares, we have costly ditch shares, which will be exchanged. So, but we've, I checked with your office on that.
Possibly which is Western
Western.
irrigation.
Yeah.
Western. Say, costly wouldn't work.
Yeah, Western.
Yeah, it's
I
Western.
think there is already some water already on there. We were about to sell there. I think there is a little.
Well, I think that steps in on Wallen Way too.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as, I think there was some on there.
Yeah.
It's on one of the dead numbers, the dead parcel numbers. I think I seen water on them.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I wasn't aware of that.
I'll make sure our
Yes, we can get your card, Doug, and then what was your name again?
Matt.
Matt.
It's just Matt at BuenaVistaWater.com.
Okay.
We can follow up with both of you, so great.
Yeah. Get your plans over to Matt and he'll get them to the
Yeah.
engineer.
might want the diagram doesn't change. Here's one. It's bent. Was in my wallet. Perfect. We adopted it in 683G.
All right.
Anything else?
That is the right. It is 70 feet to the back.
No, Jenny, as
70
far as,
From like curb to,
as far as everything else
So that's
goes, are
correct,
we?
have red
So
line.
we
Okay.
received the preliminary plat approval, so everything else is approved through the Administrative Land Use Authority
Okay.
for the improvement reviews going forward. So Matt will get you back his comments from the preliminary improvement review.
Mhm.
And then, once you get those addressed, you'll submit them back to us. Doesn't have to be at this meeting. We typically have been holding them at this meeting because it coordinates, but we can meet outside of this meeting if the timeline needs to be.
That would be helpful,
So-
yeah.
moving along.
And then as far as the escrow requirements on the horizontal improvements, that can be done as a bond as well, right?
As bonded as at recording, so you can actually get in do all the improvements until you're ready to sell lots.
Then you're just escrowing or bonding.
Then you
for-
just, what the remainder of the improvements and an extra 15%.
I do believe we have an outstanding invoice on this project though, so I'll send you an update on the fees for
Okay.
that.
Yeah, if you could do that, we'll get those.
Okay, sounds good.
So that's good to know.
Okay.
Just about the timing on.
Yeah. It's a lot more streamlined through this process than our old subdivision process, so.
Beautiful. Okay,
Yeah,
I
that's
need another
super
2-hour meeting.
Okay, all right.
All right.
sounds good.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate your
guys.
time.
We're getting there.
All right, our next project, 750 West and 2550 North. Cecil,
How are you this morning?
well, how are you?
Good. I'm Cecil Satterthwaite with Glade Management and
Spencer Stevens.
All right, this is what we received through your application. Sorry about our portal, really difficult to utilize right now. My apologies on that.
That's okay.
I see you have an updated concept plan.
Yeah,
Okay.
and this is still conceptual.
Sure.
And so they talked to you, Jenny. We were looking at rezoning CP2, but now that we know that there's an overlay zone for a mixed use, we've always kind of thought on this that if we kept the portion along 750 West as residential, that would kind of provide a buffer for the current residents. So what we would look at doing is keeping that side residential, and then the majority of it we would rezone to commercial. And one question we had is if we could, on that corner, if there would be a possibility of even doing like a duplex.
So our residential standards don't allow for a duplex, but the mixed use might, because it's a
Okay.
negotiation between the city.
Okay.
So if you apply for all of the project to be in a mixed use,
Yes, I think that would be the
then
route we
you
would take.
could potentially request that
How much property is it there now?
So right now, those lots are showing as 30 acre each.
I mean,
So that'd be already
so the
15.
whole development though.
Oh, 3 acres.
'cause
so
that's
a
in-
51% of the project has to be commercial.
Yeah, and I think it shows 1.8 acres is,
We have a minimum size of lot, just,
It's a negotiation. We don't have a minimum.
I can remember.
so I was looking on there, and
It is the,
there's a large one, and this would be a subzone of,
I don't know, let me look. That's a good point, Matt. Let's see if we have a minimum
I
acreage
can't
for
remember.
mixed
Or am I
use.
just thinking of the cluster one? I might just be thinking.
The cluster's what, 10?
The
Cluster
cluster's
is
10, but
10.
they'll allow you to go down to 5. Yeah, but I might be thinking of it.
This is an infill, it's a mixed use / infill ordinance, so I don't
couldn't
think it has a minimum
I couldn't
standard.
see a minimum on that.
Okay.
It
This
would be
is-
that subzone map, this,
Yeah.
This is the subzone you'd be developing under, so the
Right.
minimum of 51%. All the frontage, if you have frontage along any state roads or highways, which you don't, because the frontage would be on 750 for the homes and 2550, which I think we briefly talked about. needing
yes, we would have to go through Pleasant
connectivity
View for
Uh-huh,
our
for the
access
road
off at
access.
2550.
And likely some utilities, probably.
Yes, and I think there's sewer in both roads, but the commercial, we would probably want to access utilities off of 2550.
Should be Pleasant View.
Yeah. So,
So if we access the utilities off of 2550, would the utilities and like the sewer and everything, would that go through Pleasant View too?
Yeah.
So everything, the access, if
Yeah,
there was
we're-
water, and I haven't really.
We have water there.
And your water's on 25, do you have water in both?
Yep, on 750 and
And
25.
Yeah.
2550?
Because I think there's both on 2550. Pleasant View has a line
Right.
and you guys have a line.
Right.
There's secondary lines too,
On both roads, Doug?
but I don't believe that parcel is in our district. You'd have to work out water.
Okay. That's not in Pine View's district at all?
No, I don't think there's
piece at all. So you'd have to,
It's within the boundaries,
it's in the
right?
boundaries,
They just have
yeah.
to
We conserve it, but
petition
there's,
it. Yeah.
there's none of our water is on that piece.
She told me she never paid the impact fee
Okay.
to connect it.
You've got, let's see.
This is currently one parcel.
Yeah.
Yeah, currently one parcel.
This is it right here. Yeah. They've got a manhole right there. What is this? I have to double check.
And I can send you copies of these. We just kind of wanted some input from the city before we get
Sure.
into more details, before we submit. So if we submit for the rezone, do we show the total site plan? Is that the best way? The more information, the better?
So the mixed use is actually, sorry, my computer's acting up here, is a application up front. We hold the public hearing, and then we go into some negotiation committee meetings
Okay.
to nail out. There's a lot of requirements for
Okay.
the zoning change. Once you get the zoning change, it's a pretty streamlined subdivision process after that. Site plan for the commercial and subdivision for the lots. But we work out all those details before we take it back to planning commission and city
Okay.
council. As a committee, the mayor assigns a city council member, a planning commissioner, and then our staff
Okay.
to meet as regularly as your project moves forward.
Okay.
So sometimes we've met twice a month, sometimes once a month, sometimes you'll go a gap of a couple of months while you're working out. Unfortunately, I can't pull up on our website under that same mixed use ordinance, the 11.11. I think that's the one it is. We'll outline the application requirements, and we have a mixed use checklist
Okay.
that will kind of walk you through the exhibits that are required and all
Okay,
of
I can
that.
just get that from you. Or is it online?
I don't think the checklist is online. I can email that to you, which I have your email because you emailed your application.
So real quick, just while I'm thinking about it, that's actually a Central Weaver sewer line down 2550.
Okay,
So-
I think it's a main trunk line.
Yeah, it is. It's like 21 inch is
Yeah.
what it's saying. So like Pleasant View has their lines tying into it, but that line down 2550 Central Weaver.
So that'll make it a little easier. 'Cause
Okay.
You can get a service letter from Central Weaver Sewer
Yeah.
on that.
Okay.
But you'll need availability letters as part of your application from all of the utility providers.
Okay. So Pine View, Bonavista,
Northview Fire,
Northview Fire.
Rocky Mountain, Dominion Energy.
Okay.
Am I forgetting somebody? For that?
Sounds right.
Sewer will provide nothing. Maybe for the house.
If you want
Yeah,
to come
maybe
to
for the home.
Sewer for the home,
Well, if
maybe.
you're gonna come to 750, right? Like,
Is that a Central Weaver down 750?
no, that's
No.
That's ours. So we might service the home, but,
yeah.
But not the commercial.
right.
So
Unless
as
you
far-
wanted to tie into our manhole right there and
Right.
get an easement going down the whole frontage of that.
Oh, okay. I'll contact Central Weaver and see what.
It'd be
Central
easier.
Weaver's
Yeah.
gonna be deeper and
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're usually pretty good.
problems.
Now, as far as on the commercial, what we've kind of envisioned, and this is just an example, some flex space. So we don't have necessarily tenants lined up, but would that become an issue? As long as, you know, we have the design and the architecture of the building, we kind of envisioned, you know, electrician where he's got office space plus some kind of warehouse space or plumbers, or, and it could even be some small retail as well.
So the commercial code is outlined here in 11.12,
Okay.
but the actual mixed use has special qualifications for the
So-
commercial elements.
Is it a little different than the C2?
Yes, it is, the CP2, because it's combined space with living space and commercial businesses. It
Okay.
actually has to fall under retail, food, personal services, professional, fitness, recreation, and commercial office space.
Okay.
So what I'm seeing here as you're rendering may not fall into that, but it just depends on who you lease or
Who
rent.
the tenants would be, they would have to fall into.
They would have to fall under these categories to be approved for a business.
But there
license.
still is conditional uses if you meet the,
Not on a mixed use.
Oh, there is?
It's spelled out in the code what we allow.
okay.
If it goes straight commercial, because I know we talked about that
Yes,
initially.
maybe that's still an option.
Straight commercial is anything permitted in this column
Okay,
is allowed. If it has a C, then it's a conditional use.
okay.
But under if you go the mixed use route, then you'll be restricted to what's outlined here.
Okay. So we'll have a little more work to just follow up on
Yeah,
some of that.
so it just depends on which direction you decide to go with the
Okay.
project. The zoning change application is the same, and we'll hold a public hearing, but obviously if we go straight to commercial instead of mixed use, there's not that negotiation
Okay.
timeline, and the requirements aren't nearly as much for a regular zoning change versus a mixed
Versus
use.
the mixed use.
Mhm.
Okay. We kind of like keeping the residential portion there.
As the buffer.
Yeah, as the buffer, but just have to kind of,
Yeah.
go through that. Especially if there's a possibility of doing a nice duplex there. You know, where you could do the architecture where it basically looks like a single family home,
Sure.
same entrance, but. Think of anything else?
So if we were to go just the commercial on the back piece, what would the requirements be on the single family on the
So
front?
it's currently in the A1 zone.
Yeah.
So it's 1 acre minimum for lots. So if you were trying to subdivide it and leave that existing home, it would require an acre of
Okay.
property to leave that.
Just for the one
Just
home.
for the one
Yeah.
home.
Okay.
And then you could break off the 2 acres and do something there for a commercial project. But to leave residential and commercial in the same project, it has to go through the mixed use.
Okay.
Okay.
And you probably have, so you're gonna have frontage requirements on both sides. I'm sure Pleasantville will require widening and improving this road, and we'll do the same on 750.
Now, would that require curb and gutters?
Curb
Is that
gutter
part
and
of it?
sidewalk.
Curb gutter
We
and
can't
sidewalk.
speak for Pleasant View, but for
Right,
us.
for
yes.
your, along 750.
And out to the new width, because we
Yeah.
have a widening project coming down 750.
Okay.
750 will eventually be, it's Collector Road, it'll eventually be widened all the way, but this portion is probably quite a few years out before we get there.
Yeah,
But we'd still require it to go to that.
Yeah.
To that
But
portion.
even if we did all commercial, we'd still have to do the curb and
Yes,
gutter.
you would.
Yes,
Mhm.
okay.
Either way.
Either way, okay.
We do have access requirements for intersections on commercial too. So if the whole thing went commercial, I know there's probably enough frontage on 750 on the very south
I think the
side.
total depth between the two lots is, I think, 260 feet.
Yeah, I don't think it's closer than 200 feet, is it? I don't think so.
Even if you had.
Yeah, so if they had a commercial entrance from 750. Okay. So
Is there a preference what the city would like to see?
well, our future land use map shows the whole thing commercial.
Yeah,
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that softening the blow to the residents to allow the mixed use and have homes remain there, but our general plan map shows the whole thing being commercial.
okay, we'll have to discuss that, but we've kind of thought the residential along 750 would work well, so.
and then, I mean, if you do that, there's gonna be some fencing standards between that and commercial.
Yeah, I think we would do that anyway, put
Yeah.
some 6-foot privacy fence between the two to keep them separate.
We have a landscaping and buffering
Okay,
stamp screening requirements here
okay.
on 1124-080. So you can review all of that and make
Yeah.
your determination. Mixed use is really popular right now, so it's not necessarily not an option.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
our general plan does show the whole thing commercial, so it's really up to your team.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions for us? Do you have any questions for the providers that
I
we've
think-
missed
Well, we'll get with all you guys to make sure
Okay.
we get
for availability?
what we'll need there, so we'll just get more detail and go from there.
All right.
Get submitted. Okay, well, thank you.
Yep.
I don't know if you want copies of these, I can send them, it's just conceptual at this point, but.
Yep, we don't, yeah,
Cynthia got a copy of it. Or-
yeah, we
And I
don't
didn't
share
s-
anything from that
Okay.
until you make
And I didn't
application.
send these, but.
Yeah,
we're
that's
gonna
okay.
Get more detail and then send in.
No
these.
worries.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. All right. My bars disappeared. All right, techie people, tell me how I get my stuff back.
Turn it off and back.
Reboot.
Yep.
How did I determine that?
Shut down.
Is it
Well,
this
some
one?
of your browser windows, they're using all your memory.
Try that Microsoft Edge. Do you have anything pulled
That's
up?
everything for this meeting.
Oh, okay, never mind. What about
Oh.
Chrome?
We'll just close it.
Oh, there's several in there. You don't have to close all of them. You can use the little caret on the side. Potentially just close half.
Whoa. This looks like Greek to me, so. I thought they wanted to talk about Oak Hollow. So
Coming back in.
I think they wanted to go over Oak Hollow. I'm gonna let Nathan figure this out while I go grab them.
Controls to me.
Yeah. We have a few minutes before another meeting, so if you, I'm having a little computer issue, but we're happy to discuss Oak Hollow since our third item is not here.
All right, perfect.
And Glade just likes to visit us.
I do, yeah. It's my favorite place next to home.
Them on staff.
Not like you were here long enough last night.
Yeah, last night was a bit of a, I don't know how you guys do that every month.
Fortunately, it doesn't happen every month.
Yeah, that was a long one.
So do we have, do you have a,
Well, I think probably more
Yeah.
productive than, I guess if you bring up Oak Hollow, I just would like to ask Fire about one issue on
Okay.
Oak Hollow. And just for clarifications ahead of getting the engineering done on that.
Anything else?
Did you want to talk to Matt real quick? We were about ready to send you a text.
Yeah, I just sent him an email.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
So if you'll just send over red lines so that I can
And
look
we'll
those
just
over.
jump on a call ASAP.
Because I just shut down.
All right. What is the latest?
did you break it?
Feed master.
Good answer.
We did get the NDA signed, by the way, as well,
On
Summit
Summit
Views,
Views, okay.
However, they wouldn't let him sign Oak Hollow.
No, until the appeal.
Okay.
So I have this concept and I have a copy of the NDA. What do you want pulled up?
Do you just, is the concept plan good enough for the
Concept
discussion?
plans, yeah,
Okay.
concept plan is good enough.
Do you want to plug in? Sure. Since having,
Is this happening?
Black bar, and that's it.
yes, downstairs.
Was this the one?
You here for that too? Yeah, we'll have to send him downstairs.
The chief's on his way in case I don't.
They're focusing all on fire, right?
Yeah.
Is that what they said?
Yes,
Well,
but if you have fire questions, let's get them,
I can stay here.
He was here last.
okay.
Oh, was he?
Shocked that we were.
All right, Jamie.
That's okay, we're gonna have Matt plug in and,
Where's he been?
always back, right?
9 months.
Thanks for trying.
So he could be out after the meeting and say,
Is it actually gonna go?
Hang out, so
I can
Approved,
July to the
supposed to
28th.
start this week.
Yeah, I was
Or
gonna.
next
What do you want me to order?
Before the
HDMI
overlay project
Okay.
that's
You
supposed
might
to
do
be.
Pre-con?
No, we had the pre-con
To
already
maybe discuss it?
2 weeks ago. At least just as soon. And then I'll have a full subdivision pre-con. They just hired
They're talking about fire on this one.
this one's 5 and this one's 40
Thanks, Doug.
Yeah, do I need to be here? Am I good?
You have any questions for water? I know Doug will excuse, but do you have any economist?
We're good? Okay.
Thanks, Matt.
See you guys. Thanks.
Oh, hey, Matt, so we made those changes on that plan.
Okay.
On the NCs and.
It was pretty simple, yeah.
I think we're just gonna send it to you next and then have them get a price.
I just wanted to give you a heads up.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks.
Tried to get a different approval, Matt.
What's that?
I tried to get a different approval, but he wouldn't go for it.
What was that?
That we keep it 8 inch till we're under the highway and then
Sleep.
Yeah, which wouldn't make any difference, I don't think, but
We were
He's
having
saying-
trouble with the plane
it's fine. Like,
during
and
the
if
trial
in the future they
and trying to
are
get it
gonna
to work.
eliminate that
So I ended up just
8,
using the
and
small
they could just
TV
grab
for
it
the
and tie
trial.
it over to the 16 on their own. I don't know.
yeah, that's all
And
that
we
was.
just couldn't get it to work. I couldn't
Oh, sorry.
get it to.
HDMI 2? Are we on HDMI 2?
Yeah.
Not working.
There's always paper.
Well, I can turn my screen too here
Yeah.
and whatever.
Well, let me just, this is not the most up to date printout,
Could just put on the song.
but let me just ask you, so our engineer is asking me if where we have this hammerhead here, so where we come off of Larson Lane into the development, he's wondering if we can eliminate this spur to the side, and if it would be satisfactory here, if we just had one to the left.
So I had that pulled up from earlier. You gotta meet one of these. Those are our dead. Yeah, the standards for the dead end. Well, it's out of the fire code. The city, I think, has not all of those as standards.
Well, and when he asked me this, I said, "Well, will it conform to what the fire code's requirements are?"
No.
And he said, "Well, I guess I'll have to check that." And I'm thinking, well, why didn't you do that before you sent me this mock-up? You know?
No, you need the hammerhead. You need the both sides. So you pull
Okay.
into one, back up. And then you flip
That's
around.
what I thought. We got a little pushback from the Fields who own that property to the right side. So they own the property up here, and they're in their minds, I'm sure they're thinking, why are they stubbing into our property?
You don't have to stub all the way to the property line.
So how much do you need on each side?
So 60 feet on each side, from center of road.
Okay. Center.
So 120 feet total.
Okay. Okay. So that was a concern. I'll go over that with him. The other question I've got for you on Oak Hollow is storm drain. It seems to me from an earlier conversation, do we have to go all the way down? It seemed to me that we have to make a connection down closer to Wall. Is that correct?
Yes.
Down 700.
Yeah.
We're down by 89. So
the
the
only
storm
way
drain
to-
connection's going to be there.
That's the only way to pull it out.
Okay. And I think, was there,
Is the elevation out to Larson Lane will be.
Because we have that big line in Larson Lane, but you're sitting down kind of below Larson Lane.
yeah, we are below Larson Lane.
You're taking sewer out that way too, right?
We got to go down 700 for sewer, correct?
700. But yeah, we don't have. We have.
So we don't have any storm drain down 700 until you hit the highway, so that's why you have
Okay.
to.
Right. So it's down here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So clear at that property that's, that commercial piece there on the corner? Okay. All right, the reason I'm asking that is I'm gonna start knocking on doors today for residents to get an easement through there to get to that pond for the 4 Mile Service District.
At the southwest side of Warren Hollow. Is that what we're
Mhm.
talking about? Okay.
Mhm.
What residents?
So we can get a line through
Right.
to the
but-
pond to 700 North to get an easement through there.
The best.
There's, I mean, let's,
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
well, I was gonna say if we could pull up GeoGizmo,
Yeah.
because there's actually, that corner house, there's a section in there.
There by
that's-
Satterthwaite Place.
Yeah, the section in there that's not owned by that resident, it's actually part of the right of way.
Oh, really?
Which one are you talking about then?
Yeah.
From my understanding, what I've looked at. So, right here, there's a section right here on that right of way that's not encroaching into that road.
Oh, right along the side of 89?
Mm-hmm. Then you come to that corner and then run it up 700 in the right of way.
But how do
You're
we
not
get to
buying-
the pond from there?
Essentially, that pond is right there in that property, so
Right.
you'd actually have to discuss with,
Satterthwaite.
oh, is that Satterthwaite still?
Yes, that's Satterthwaite.
Okay, so yeah.
So one way or
Okay.
another, I gotta
There-
get.
There is that one.
Your
Okay.
easiest-
I thought that was Link.
Yeah, I wouldn't, I guess maybe easiest isn't, all right, easiest construction wise, not easiest property owner wise, right, is if they could just step through the end of that cul-de-sac.
Yes.
Through the, yeah.
Right.
But-
Like, if
Someone's in between
Yeah.
there.
But
may
if
not-
they can get the easement through Satterthwaite and go up, all the way up 700,
yeah.
Well, since we have to come, and that was why I was asking about Stormberry, because if we have to go all the way down 700 anyway,
And you have the road, the side of the.
you know, so the other option, so I was thinking, so here's what, I talked with the engineer. So here's the options that I see. Get an easement across the right on the property boundary here, and then come down Fields driveway. And I think there's a short easement here on Fields anyway.
There's only a sewer easement.
Just
We
a sewer?
looked- Yeah, we looked that up and they only agreed to a sewer easement.
Okay. So we either go here and down and then up 700 north, or we hit, you know, we could do here. The other option is, once you get over closer to the pond, is come down here, one of these property lines, or here at Satterthwaite. So those are the options that I'm
so
seeing.
the pump station actually sits right here.
Okay.
So it ties in right here, so you'd actually have to take a T off, like a T, and then wrap it probably back around the pond and come down into this corner,
Okay.
shoot it across that property line, out onto this highway easement.
Unless you can come down.
Unless you can
That'll
come
give you
straight down.
An easement right here on this property line, which I mean, they're already giving you an easement.
Mm-hmm.
Then you come there and then up.
So you're saying there's an easement all along here?
Well, there's the highway
Yeah.
that's right away, right.
But I don't know if that would be easier because you'd have to deal with UDOT.
Again, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
If you get all the way out to the highway, that might be tricky. It might be,
So if we gotta go with Satterthwaite anyway, maybe we just do
yeah.
here.
yeah, do it
because they
right here.
demoed a home
Come to
here.
this
up to
corner,
here.
come
Which
right
one?
here.
They demoed a
There's
home.
your-
It used to.
Oh, that
it used
home
to
is
be-
I believe that's the
Or it
storm
was on
drain
this
box.
piece. I can't
Okay.
remember
So
exactly
then
which
you can
parcel.
just
it was
run
on.
them side by side
Yep.
up to 700.
Yeah, Jenny
Okay.
said that home there may have been
This,
demoed.
this,
It was.
there
There's
used to
nothing
be a
here.
home here, yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing
nothing
there.
on that
Okay.
property.
That's
I
why,
think the Satterthwaites own it. Right?
Satterthwaite's on that one,
Yeah.
yeah.
that's why I thought
Because they,
it was part of Link still.
Okay.
so those are some of the options. Obviously, I think there's a stub here, if I remember right, isn't there?
Well, it
Andy
ends
thought there was
there,
one there.
but you're not.
But, yeah, again,
That,
easy versus,
Yeah.
that would be the easiest construction wise.
That would be very much, and again,
I mean, you saved a lot of
really
money
like-
just submitted right there.
Well, and then we'd look into tying the sewer in there too.
You know.
That would make it so you didn't have to come all the way up to 700 and stormwater. But
And this
that's
is
not
a
gonna-
different family member than who we've been dealing with. Just putting it out there.
Right.
Not to say that it's going to be.
Any easier? Yeah.
Right, but you look at what you could, well, I don't know, you approach it how you want, I guess, but you look at what you could save if you were just tying in right there, construction cost wise.
To buy the easement,
To
you
buy
mean.
an easement through there.
But that
Yeah,
brings up my other question. When we've looked at this, we essentially thought we were doing one utility on the side of the house. Now it looks like we're doing 3.
Down the Love's property, you
Yeah.
mean?
And
Weren't
Do we have
they
the space
weren't
for
they
it?
in here at that meeting, the Loves, a few month or so?
well,
Yeah,
what
they
we're saying is
they were at
to
the
keep the
public
Love's
hearing.
house and try to run 3
I
separate
know,
utilities
right?
down
Do we have
there.
the room for that?
We don't have the room.
Yeah.
So
'Cause there wasn't
essentially
that
that
much.
house would have to be bought out and go.
Because there wasn't that much room on the side of it between their house and the property line anyway, right?
There
Wait a
was
little less than 15 feet.
15 feet, and that was tight with the sewer,
Yeah.
with regulations and water and sewer, and, I mean, I know it's secondary, not culinary, but still, they still want to maintain a 10-foot buffer on all water to sewer.
Yeah, that's not great.
Well, we already own the property. We've closed on the property, so we own the property. Obviously, our intent wasn't to,
Right,
Wasn't
to
to get
keep
rid of
the
that house,
house,
yeah.
yeah.
Right.
And-
Just
and-
subdivide that.
Yeah,
back
and I
inside.
understand that, but now that we're looking that we've got to bring all 3 utilities in,
What if you,
so why don't we just move the shed and come down that other,
Yeah, that's what I'm
come
saying.
down that other property?
remove the shed, you got more room on the
Yeah.
west side of
West
the house.
side.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot easier to move
Well,
the
and even
garage
if you
than-
ran the sewer down the
Yes.
north side, or the east side, and then the stormwater in the,
But
Yeah.
that puts 2 easements
Two
on that
different
property.
easements.
Right.
I think you got the room, if you
still
pull,
got property lines, you just do it at the property line.
but if you're gonna remove that shed anyway,
Yeah.
just throw them all down that side.
Again, I was just
If there's
thinking,
enough room.
if it's not a major redesign, because the way we designed it is that pond also worked as an access to a manhole
Yeah,
Right.
right.
on the.
So now we gotta shift to the retention pond.
So now you either gotta shift a road or make something because of the run between here and here.
Yeah.
We have, it's gets pretty close to that 300 foot.
Mhm.
And the way you were showing it, you had a manhole back here at the end of your detention pond for your sewer.
Right.
But we were showing a drivable road
Yeah.
to get to that manhole.
Maybe you could flip
Right.
that, right?
That's
Put the
why I'm
drivable
saying if
road.
we didn't mess with the sewer, but we did take out that shed and run another easement down
Yeah,
that.
so Justin, maybe we could,
I
right,
just-
right, maybe flip this access right here over
Yeah.
to this side.
Yeah, that would
And
work
then
too.
come out here.
And then that would, then you put all 3 utilities in that,
Yeah,
in
right.
that access
Right here.
road.
I can't, that's weird.
So where are you talking, Matt?
So I was just saying, you flip this PUE over to this
Right.
side of the retention pond, and then you come out
Right.
down through here.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
That would be the easiest, I think.
I think you could. I think it's doable.
Yeah, no, it is. I just, now that we're talking about
Yeah.
3, because again, irrigation's still up a little bit in the air, and stormwater, we weren't quite sure, but we knew we had to get it out, so.
So how wide of a easement do you need there for 3 of
So
them?
you've got sewer, storm drain, and secondary.
Mhm.
I don't know, like a 30-foot easement,
I'd say, yeah,
25 to 30.
it's minimum 25. It could be less than 25.
Right. You need, I mean, like, you don't have the state, and does Bonavista want to loop down to 700 North or not?
They've never said they wanted to, but
But have they run their model to see?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Maybe Matt.
Follow
What are you
the-
thinking?
Well, I'm just wondering if Bonavista Vista needs to run down there too to tie into 700, between 700 North and Larson Lane to get the fire flows that you guys need, but I don't know if they modeled it yet.
Have that conversation with them.
Yeah. Or if they can
With Matt.
service it all just off of Larson Lane.
I mean, they didn't do it
They didn't do that on Warren.
Warren,
Yeah.
and for some odd reason, they're kind of not acting like they want to loop a bunch
I
of
know,
lines.
which seems weird to me. Like wherever you could loop them, I would think you'd want to.
Okay.
We're not their engineer.
No, not yet.
Okay. All right, well, that gives me some good direction there, so.
Okay.
Stick around.
All right.
Thanks for taking that extra time.
Absolutely, that's what this meeting's for.
Yeah.
Okay, we will
Save us
adjourn.
all some steps.